Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing with the Fanhome Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord build. And before we start, it has come to my attention that it appears that the step-by-step guide is incomplete. We won't have an issue with it until the end, but apparently the combining steps are missing from the instructions, which does appear to be the case. We get instructions for the part 120, which is the stabilizers for the Zords, but there's nothing on actually how to combine it and things like that. Supposedly magazines can be and instructions can be accessed online through Fanhome's website. I've tried it. It doesn't work. There's a grayed out image for the digital instructions, but you can't press on it, you can't do anything. I've emailed Fanhome. I'm not expecting anything to come of it, but it'll be interesting to see what their response is, so I'll keep you informed on that. So without further ado, we will be continuing with the build, with the first half of, the second half of issue 36, 37 and 38. So without further ado, it is building time. Okay. So we need to take, let's get this all open and ready. So that is 37. 37. That is some screws at the base of those, which we'll open in a bit. And that's 37. I'll think that's one side. And we'll get 38 open as well. 38. Get them mixed up. I'm just going to put 38s on the top there. Right, okay, so first up we need to take our what looks like to be the neck connector from issue 30 or part 36. Take one of our really long screws. Oh, I've got a few different screws here. Oh, and some washers and a shock absorber. So let's get that out of the way. Use those. Oh, 2 long screws, 2 PP screws, and 2 washers. I'm assuming we only need one of everything, but we will see. So, first up we take this, we take our screw, we take a washer, and this will go through there with one of these going on like that apparently. Fitting an M2 nut into the round end of the saber-toothed tiger's head connector piece, insert the screw through the other side of the washer. And then screw it twice apparently. So I don't know if that's to go all the way back or not. I think that's as far back as it'll go, I believe. Yes, I believe that's as far back as it will go. Let's get the screwdriver. And So through the other side and turn the screw twice. Okay. Oh, sugar. Okay. Try this again. Oh yeah, so I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but there is a lip as to how far this nut will go back. There we go. Let's try this again. 1, 2. 1 and 2. So I'm guessing it's supposed to be like that. I don't know for certain, it's unclear, but we'll see as we go. Okay, I see. So this goes into the connector. And then we tighten the screw until the neck is firm. Let's see. So we'll go, I think. Oh, for Pete's sake. Ooh. Hang on. There we go. Take some finagling because you want to find the sweet spot in order for the neck connector to be nice and firm, so it, isn't going to be too loose, but you don't want to over tighten it because the washer has a tendency to come undone. Then moving on, we take this piece, I think. Nope. Sorry, we take this piece, and then we take our end of the shock absorber, and this just plugs into here. Oh, again, it's another one of those. You need a hard surface to get it pushed in. There we go. Yep. Then this will connect to here with one of the PP screws. Go. I want to make sure, keep an eye on the head, make sure it's not too loose, that it's still tight enough. I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. There we go. The washers can hang on. Okay, I'll be back again. There we go, all done. Next, we need to get this piece from our last and that will then clip over here like so. And there's a small cover we're going to need to cover things with, so let's get these spare screws out of the way. Let's see what covers we have. There's the cover piece, which is that piece there. That's it. Our washers open. Oh, I hate the washers. Those open. And while we're at it, we might as well put the washers on the screws because that's where they will be going. Then open these PV screws and those to one side. So this should clip on like so. No. This does not want to fit. Ow. There we go. It takes a lot of pressure. It says to fit this first, but I think it's better if you fit that first. That takes a lot of pressure. Careful because it will pinch. Then that will go on. Set it upside down. Get our screws. Take screw number 1. Fit that to that. Line this up. 1. One. Two. Two. Get a longer screwdriver for that piece, I think. and 4. I'm just going to do this off screen. Not quite sure what happened there, but that one was really tough to get the screws in properly, and it took a couple of attempts. Even no, they are all in properly now. Nothing's too loose. That was awkward though, and it certainly hurt the palm of my hand. Anyway, we then need to connect this piece of the lower neck, and so essentially this will come in and sit over like that. I don't know if I don't think once everything else is connected that's not going to pull off easily, so I'm not going to glue it, but it may be something to consider for future. Yeah. It's interesting that the top of the head of the saber-toothed tiger is actually a slightly different yellow to the sides, but it's not the metal. It's both. You can see here the metal colouring matches this part of the plastic, but this is a lighter yellow, and so is this, which is really quite interesting, and gives some nice toning to the Zord. I don't know how accurate that is to the look of the show. I might have to try and go back and see if I can get some high definition images or pictures to see, but yes, it's not completely noticeable, but yeah, there is definitely a different tone between this top piece of the yellow and this side piece down here, so it's definitely an intentional thing rather than an issue. Right, next up is taking this piece and sliding it in somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, I think it's going to go in there. And then we need to fix it in place with 2 PV screws. Good luck with that. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work given the angle and everything, but we will give it a try. You're going to need... I'm not even sure a thin screwdriver is going to work. Right, let's try. See if we can get these lined up first. Okay, 1 and 2. Then slide that down until it rests in place there. And then somehow we've got to get the screwdriver into position. Okay, again, I'm going to do this one off camera. We're back. Okay, so this was a nightmare to get fitted. The ironic thing is, if this was just a millimetre or two wider, or these pegs were a fraction of a millimetre smaller, wouldn't have been the problem at all. Sliding it in is fine. It's trying to get these screws lined up. The problem is, I don't know what's best, is that the space between here and where the screw is isn't exact. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but you can see here that the screws are essentially behind this peg. So you've got to try and get in at a angle to get them screwed in. I was incredibly worried throughout about bending and breaking here or here. Thankfully, the plastic's really quite hard and tough. But yeah, it was a concern. You definitely need a really long, thin screwdriver. In fact, what I found was having a demagnetized screwdriver was better than having a magnetized one. The problem I was having with the magnetized ones is every time I went to put the screwdriver against the screw, it would pick up the screw and it would come out of the screw holes. So in the end, I got the one which actually came with the Megazord build, which isn't magnetized. Used that and was able to get these screwed in, and then once they were screwed in, I got one of the others screwdrivers just to tighten them up and put them in. Once they're in, they're fine. It's just that there is no space there at all to get your screwdrivers in. It's a very poorly designed section. It just needs an extra millimetre or two, and it would have been fine. That's how minor of a difference it is. It's just that extra tiny millimetre and it would have been fine. The other thing I went and did off camera was quickly screw in the shock absorber. We've seen these in the other videos. Simple screws and washers into the position, and that holds them in place. So that is part 37 complete now. So we're now moving on to 38. So part 38. Here we have the other side and a bunch of parts. So let's get our screws open as always, and then we'll look at getting everything fitted. And we should have a shock absorber as well. Ah, there it is. Couldn't see the shock absorber. There it is. Okay, so first off we need to take this side and we need this piece. Yep, we need this piece, and this will screw into, oh yay, it's another one, here. Now this one should be easier because there's nothing blocking where the screws go, so let's give it a try. Well, that's a darn sight easier. One and two. And we need in this hexagonal socket, oh sorry, it's a torso connecting piece, and the shock absorber goes into the top here. It looks like you want it facing this way when you put it in. Oh, that was a really easy fit. Normally they're really tough. It goes to one side. We then need our left side, which should be this one. He's just trying to double check. No, it is this one because we've got the bottom piece, but interesting, there's no designating marks on either of those, which is incredibly frustrating. But yeah, you want the left one. And then this point will connect with our shock absorber here, so that will just line up like so. You can see here now that this will form the shoulders and things, and that twist will be used for the transformation. It's nice, tight fit. So there we have that. Then we want to fit in our torso connector here. That connects in like that. However, it wants you to have that sticking out like that. So you might need to twist it a bit. Oh, that's interesting. So it looks like we might have some sort of bend between the shoulders and the actual torso of the body. Then we take the bottom of the lower chest, and this supposedly just slides in here. I'm not quite sure which way round it's supposed to go. That's interesting. Oh yeah, so it's ever so slightly slanted here, so it will only fit one way, which is with these slats facing towards the back, like so. Oh look, there's even markings here where they line up nicely. So that is that. And then we need to connect this piece, which just goes in like so. I presume that's a connector. Oh, I see. So that will give some support to the leg once it's all assembled. That's a nice touch. So I'm a little surprised we haven't got any washers here to help maintain the tightness of it. But there we have it. That is part 38. These two bits are left over for a future part. Our saber-toothed tiger is now coming along very nicely. There were some fiddly parts here. These screws didn't want to fit properly on this, and it became very difficult because they were obviously inserted deep. It was hard to get them properly screwed in. This part was near impossible. So there have been some really fiddly parts with this, but it's certainly coming together quite nicely. And in the light of day, there is definitely a slight tonnage difference between this and this part, these two parts and here. So these match very closely, and then obviously these are very slightly different shades too, even just here, which is a really nice touch. But there we have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back soon, and until next time, may the power protect you.